Yo, what's going on, you guys? It's your boy 3 Stacks in this thing, baby, representing Team Kings of Games. And today I'm going to talk about Shaddolls Fall from Grace. Yeah. How this deck went from the best tier 1 deck of the format, with Shaddolls, like Spiral format, basically. And I don't think it's because Spiral is dead that this deck is dead, or that people say it's dead, because I don't feel like it's dead. I don't feel like it's rogue. But how did this deck go from the best deck of the format, the tier 1 deck to go to rogue? Or everything else pile. That doesn't make sense to me. It baffles me. But as a competitive player, I do understand people's reasoning. But I'm not here to compliment or back up their theories. I'm not here to side with those who disagree with this deck's competitive viability. This is kind of a jack of all trades control deck. So first, I'll explain why people wrote it off. So for one, this is one of the main popular things that people say. And at this point, they don't even know what they're talking about. I feel like sometimes, I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like some people just repeat what they hear others saying. So they don't have an opinion. They have what's called a shared opinion, which is not always something they agree with. It's just, dang, everybody's saying it, so that must be the reason why. That kind of theory. So what everybody's been saying, what is in my gamma? That's not what everybody's saying. What everybody's been saying is, oh, well, everybody knows how to beat Shaddolls. There's already ways to counter it. Okay, for one, let me go ahead and contradict that. Everybody knows how to beat every deck. Any deck that's ever been meta, people automatically adapt and start side decking for that. So if that's going to be your reason for why you don't play Shaddolls, that doesn't make sense because people know how to beat Emancipators. People know how to beat Eldritch. People know how to beat Invoked. People know how to beat Dinos. People know how to beat any Needle Fiber deck. We know what to do. We know what cards to side. It comes down to whether you draw the cards or not. That's a different story. Whether you draw the Dark Ruler or the Droll or the, whatever hand trap stops him, the Nibiru, etc. So if you want to sit here and say, oh, it's because we know how to beat it. We know how to beat every deck that's out right now. This is not a deck that people over here like, oh my goodness, this deck's tier 0. I don't know what to do. Every competent player in the game right now knows what to do and what to side against any deck that's been meta viable. That's why side decks even exist, to combat meta. That's what most people use it for. So that, for me, that's out. That's no void. I'm not going to sit here and not play Shaddolls because people are saying everybody knows how to beat it. All right? Now, when it comes down to side decking for the deck, nobody sides for Shaddolls anymore. They're not meta, remember? So if you're going to sit here and say, oh, well, everybody sides for it, everybody knows how to beat it, that's irrelevant now. That's out. It doesn't matter. Now people are saying Winda. All right, so I want to say this. People are saying like Winda's bad, it's not good enough, Dark Ruler, this, that, and the third. Because really, the reasons for people saying Shaddolls are not good enough, like it comes down to more, I feel it's like the going second. We'll talk about that. But first of all, anybody that's going to say Winda's bad, who are you and where are you from? And what form of Yu-Gi-Oh are you playing? At this point, Eldritch's adaptations and evolutions have given it a weakness to a card it wasn't supposed to be weak against. Winda. They're over here turboing out Needle Fiber and Auradon and spamming tokens and making all these degenerate combo boards. Hello, somebody. Now you are losing to a Winda because you're playing cards in your deck that you won't be able to utilize because Winda's on board. If you want to sit here and say, oh, Golden Boy plus a spell, are you going to draw Golden Boy plus spell every single time? And even if you do you think that you're up against a trash Shaddolls player? Hello, somebody. If anybody's going to set up a Winda like me, I'm going to back it up with negates, back it up with Abyss Dweller if I have to, and I will back it up with Incarnation and El Shaddoll Fusion. Why do you think we do that as Shaddolls players? So that if you out the first Winda, we summon a second one. So if you Dark Ruler no more the first Winda, so that go ahead and contradict that. Dark Ruler no more is one of the most played out comments ever. It's like 2020 at this point. We know Dark Ruler no more is there. Either you have it or if you don't. And if you're gonna sit here and say Dark Ruler no more is a reason why Shaddolls are not popular, that is out. Because unlike most decks, this deck does not struggle with Dark Ruler no more. Winda specifically, they Dark Ruler no more you activate L and you summon another one on their butt. If they out the Shaddolls, Winda the second time, you activate Incarnation and summon the third one on their butt. If you know what you're doing playing this deck and you have the hand to do so, you are going to set up a Winda loop for 3. That is what I do. So just by anybody saying Winda is trash or that it's not good enough, that doesn't make sense. You are literally just repeating what other people say. That doesn't make sense. A good Shaddoll player, one that's not going to give up on the deck the moment that, oh, Secret Select comes out. I'm done with Shaddolls. I'm dropping it. I'm about to betray them and go play another deck. Somebody who really values this deck like me that's not about to give up on it and just be like, oh, wow, how do we get Construct at 3? The deck's at full power. It's better than it's ever been. How y'all going to write it off that quick? 1 month of fame? Are you kidding me? This deck deserves more. Like, people like me, we're not just about to write it off that quick, okay? So if you're going to say Winda's bad, what format are you playing in? So going first is not the problem because this deck can summon Winda easily, backed up with negations, especially if you're playing Invoke, Makaba, Kaliga, Appaloosa, Abyss Dweller. Like this deck, okay, it's not just Winda pass. It's always Winda backed up with stuff. It's your worst nightmare with all her friends to protect her, alright? So you better stop saying Winda's bad. That doesn't make sense, okay? The only time Winda doesn't apply is in pure Eldritch. That's when Winda's not going to hurt that much because they don't need to special summon a lot. They might not open, Golden Lord to out the window, but why would they out it in the first place? They don't really special summon that much in the first place. They're going to grind you out with their hand traps and their traps. That's what they do. Okay? And the other thing, alright? As a Shaddoll player, you can vouch with me and agree with this opinion. Winda is not all we got. That's not all we're made of. Everybody said like if Winda's bad, Shaddolls are bad. My dude, that's not the only trick we have up our sleeve, okay? So I understand people's reasonings, Dark Ruler, but honestly, evenly matched, keep the Winda. Dark Ruler no more, summon another Winda. Kaiju, summon another Winda. Alright? So there's a lot of Lightning Storm, Winda doesn't die. There's a lot of conventional side deck cards that don't out Winda. How do you out Winda? You have to like work hard sometimes. Okay, because Dark Ruler no more against a competent player is not going to be enough because the biggest threat in the first place is the Winda. Okay, the negates might hurt, but it's like, dang, in order for you to progress your game state, decks this day and age with how degenerate it's become, Link Cross, Neofiber Turbo, Arclight, Borolo Savage, this, that, and the third, Pendulums even needing a special summon more than once. Off the time, even if they pin from hand, it's like, dang, it's not always enough because they still need a big enough body to out it. It's not always enough. I'm not saying it won't be enough. I'm just going to say it's not always going to be enough. So Winda herself already is ridiculously powerful. Shikinaga, Anoyatilis. Like, can I drop this deck's arsenal so you guys can understand? We as Shaddoll players, Winda's not all we're made of. You guys don't like Winda, so you guys act like our deck is just Winda is our deck, but that's not all we can do. We have so many tricks up our sleeve. This is the icing on our cake that we bake in the oven while you watch us do it. Anoyatilis is a good meta call. Shikinaga is incredible. Grista can negate special summons. Okay, so another thing that's really cool, I'll get into it when I get into it. I don't want to spoil it. So this is our arsenal right here as far as the Shaddoll fusions go. We have Obcolone for perm negates. We can out-resource you. We can grind with Eldritch and the best of them. So don't get into a grind game with us and don't get mad at us because every time you kill a fusion, we're adding a card from grave to hand. Don't be mad because remember, you wrote this deck off. So for people saying Winda's not good enough, that doesn't make sense. Because it's never Winda by herself in the first place, and yes, she is. Even if the only board I set up, like you tell me, how is Adamancipator going to set up a board if they can only special summon once? With the way dinos are being played, your best bet is going to be normal summon Oviraptor, I assume, dump a Coatlicus, grab a Peel, and hope that you have a different kind of type monster so you can summon Conductor directly from your deck. Your next best bet is to hard draw Conductor or Oviraptor and find a way to get 2 dinos engraved, summon your Conductor, attack the Winda, main phase 2, get slapped by another Winda because we can summon multiple. It's not just the one Winda. Again, it's always going to be L Incarnation if you know what you're doing. If you're playing an optimal build, and you know Winda's going to destroy them, you make sure that you don't just put all your eggs in one Winda. Another thing we can do is the Union Carrier lock with the Destruction Sword. So now you're locked out of your extra deck, and Winda's locking you for only one special summon. Dark Ruler no more, you still can't use your extra deck, and I can summon another Winda. So when people say that, I really think maybe it's more or less this deck just declined in popularity. It got overshadowed. It's more overshadowed than it is just not good enough, because it is good enough. It's always been good enough. Like this, are you kidding me? Do you know the ceiling of this deck? It's so powerful. It's an aggressive control deck. It is not just going to be like, it's not like Guru or Altergeist where your damage output is lackluster and you're building your board sometimes is like, it's slow tempo. This deck can be as fast as it wants to be or as slow as it wants to be. It can lock you out of the game or just OTK you. It can do both. It's an aggressive control deck and it has all the elements to combat the meta. Anoyatilis for the Eldritch matchup. Winda for pretty much everything else. If the Winda's not good enough, Appaloosa, Dweller, or Mechaba, or Opkolone looping off of the trap, or Grista, or Shikinaga will be good enough. And your grind game, okay? You have Dragon in your main deck, you can combat back rows, you can it's crazy. So now, going second, because people say, okay, well, this deck can struggle going second against combo boards. What deck doesn't struggle going second against combo board? The deck gets auto loses against Nat Beast, and Adamancipator, they play Nat Beast. Alright, are you not playing Madman? Do you not play Shaddoll Hound in your list? Maybe that's the problem. Maybe it's the deck list. Maybe it's what you're playing. You can build your deck accordingly, You can play cards like Dark World No More in your main deck if you want to. You can side deck appropriately against it. And if you're playing the right build, Mathman potentially could actually out that board. I'm just saying it could just out it, Like if it's just Nat Beast alone, I'm just saying, I'm not saying they're going to summon Nat Beast by itself. But my main point is, okay, so if you're saying because Adamancipator can make Nat Beast, and that can be an auto lose, that you're not going to play Shaddolls, that's like me saying that I don't want to play any deck that auto loses against Winda because they can make Winda and I can't play. Because the same way I can auto lose to Nat Beast, can they not auto lose to Winda? If I draw Dark Ruler No More, I have a better chance of outing Nat Beast than they do of outing my Winda because I can summon multiple Windas. Can they summon multiple Nat Beasts is my question. If they can lock me out of my extra deck, so can I. So if we're going to talk about that, that just becomes dice roll at that point. Whoever goes first. Because Shaddolls go first. They can set up crazy boards. But when it comes to going second, they have incredible plays. We have a one-card OTK. We're able to bait multiple negations because our fusion outlets are what's going to have to be negated. Arclight, attack over it, okay? So the reasons for people riding off Shaddolls, for me, I can counter it with good theory and evidential proof. Not just like, oh, well, once in a blue moon, we can do this. I will counter it with realistic evidence of we do this very often. So if you're going to say, oh, this is why Shaddolls are not good, I can counter it with this is why Shaddolls are good, and here's the reason, and here's some proof. This deck can do these things that I'm talking about. So in the terms of going second, I can understand, Nat Beast can be a problem. I know Arclight can be a problem. Multiple negates is a problem for any deck. But Shaddolls, unlike other decks, are capable of going second. Invoke Shaddolls. You have Meltdown. You have Alistair. You have Invocation. Just think of how many ways you have to bait negates. You activate Meltdown, a competent player has to negate Meltdown. They have to. They don't have a choice. Otherwise, they can't negate anything that's going to come after that. If you open Meltdown, Alistair, Invocation, and a Shaddolls Fusion, they're going to negate Meltdown, they're going to negate Alistair, they're going to negate Invocation, and get clapped by a Shaddolls Fusion. That's how it's going down, baby. It's just pure Shaddolls. All you need is multiple fusion outlets. You have core. The way I play Shaddolls, how I've been able to have success, I play core in my main deck. I know people are going to negate my fusion spells. So I'm going to use Mathman or Squamata to send core from my deck to my grave to recur it. I'm going to activate Extra Fool's Burial, a card that's slept on, send Opkolone from extra deck to grave, search a second copy of Shaddolls Fusion because the first one got negated, and I'm going to activate it again because they negated the activation. So if you know what you're doing as a Shaddolls player, you will be able to do exceptional. Now, in the terms of boards that this deck can make, something that I can recommend towards you if you don't play it, you can try out Topologic Control. When you play against Adamancipators, sometimes Winda might not be enough, but if you back up Winda with board wipes, it is enough, okay? It's definitely enough. Like if you can Winda them, you can Winda their board, and you have ways to nuke their field and summon a second Winda, it's going to be a very, 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 very hard time for any combo deck to deal with board wipes and a follow-up Winda off El Shaddolls Fusion or Incarnation. Normally, you're going to be triggering the Bomber off the Incarnation. You're going to use the El Shaddolls Fusion to summon another Winda. It's incredible what you can do with this deck, the boards you can set up. You can go for Trishbania. If you're playing against Eldritch, you can trigger Trishbania on their turn to banish their back rows. Just food for advice. So how I feel, and another thing, okay, Dweller. Because what I'm doing is I'm naming the cards people would say are the reason why Shaddolls are not good, and I'm countering them with things that Shaddolls can do to mitigate that issue. Not every deck can mitigate its weaknesses, but I'm naming weaknesses that are clear of Shaddolls that they actually can counter it. So Gamma, a great card. For Nat Beast, activated fusion spell, chain Gamma to the Nat Beast. Forbidden Chalice. These cards also can counter Abyss Dweller, which is another card that really does hurt this deck. It threatens Shaddolls, So for Abyss Dweller, if somebody can say, oh, well, it struggles with Dweller. Side deck correctly. Like, this is something I want to tell you guys. I would rather change the cards I'm playing in my deck than just cut the deck and play a completely different deck just because I don't know how to adapt or because I'm scared, or I just don't feel like going through the motions of figuring out how to mitigate my weaknesses. Well, then dang, that's on you. But for me, as for me and my decks, any decks that I'm going to play, something's in my sleeve. As long as I care about the deck enough, I'm going to adapt before I conform. Hello, somebody. Can I say that again? I am going to adapt my deck before I conform and give up and join the dark side and play Eldritch and Adamantipator's and invoke this and invoke that. Honestly, dude, this deck is good. And, like, Dark Ruler No More can be played by any deck. So, Dark Ruler is kind of like, it's going to mitigate. I can use that ignorant comment that a lot of people will say, oh, but Dark Ruler, oh, but Dark Ruler. And don't forget that this deck can main deck Super Poly. Don't forget that. I'm just pointing it out. This deck has a lot of good things going for itself. And it can play hand traps. And it can main deck Dark Ruler. So, oh, we're going second against Adamantipator's. Oh, but 3 stacks. What if you Dark Ruler No More then? But, let me pull out this bad boy right here. But they have you locked out of your extra deck. What then? Are you playing pure? Because if you're playing pure, you got Mathman. You got Foolish Burial. If you, so this is a scenario where people will be like, oh, but that's a perfect scenario. My dude. If it's possible, it's possible. There's 3 Dark Ruler No Mores, there's 3 Mathmans. Is that really an unrealistic scenario? Because just as much as a chance as anybody has to draw Dark Ruler No More against your combo board, you have that chance of drawing it. So in the terms of them locking out your extra deck, play Cosmic Cyclone or just play Mathman. Dark Ruler No More and Mathman can out the entire lock. No extra deck? Alright, bet. Dark Ruler No More. Ha 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 ha. This is still equipped to my Broiled Savage. You don't have an extra deck Shaddoll player. Normal Mathman, Dump Dragon. Dragon Pop. What do you mean? Activate Shaddoll Fusion. Now what? Dang, I should have put some respect on them Shaddolls. Yeah, they tripping, yo. So for us Shaddol players, we know what we doing. If you're a real Shaddol player, that is, not like, basically a bandwagoner. Because bandwagoners hopped on and they hopped off real quick. They was like, Shaddolls are hot, I'm playing this. And then out of nowhere, dang, Shaddolls ain't hot no more. Because everybody's telling me they're not hot. Not because I feel personally, I feel a lot of people are just like, nah, it's just what everybody's doing. It's like I said, it declines in popularity. It's not trendy anymore. It's not what everybody's doing, and what everybody's going to do is conform. If everybody ain't doing it, I don't want to do it. So as long as everybody plays Eldritch this, Adamantipator that, that's what the format's going to be. The second somebody or a big group of people stops playing them and starts playing the next big thing, that's going to happen. The next big thing. And then all of a sudden, Adamantipator and Eldritch ain't good enough. No, they're not. It's not that they're not good enough. It declined in popularity, and that's the main thing I'm getting at. I feel that Shaddolls just declined in popularity. They are capable to combat Dweller, multiple negate boards. They can out the extra deck lock. Like, again, people say, oh, Dark Ruler No More, but I still have the extra deck lock. But we have Dragon in our main deck. We have back row removal in our main deck. We have spot removal in our main deck. We can also outgrind Adamantipator's even with Block Dragon. All of our stuff floats. All of our cards replace themselves. Every Eldritch card ain't going to always replace itself. Like Golden Lord doesn't necessarily replace itself. Like some of these spells and traps can replace themselves onto the field, but their whole deck doesn't replace itself. With Shaddolls, our spells, our traps, and our monsters, and our extra deck monsters, all of them replace themselves. So when it comes to grinding, every time you get rid of one of my cards, I get something back. Even when you Dark Roll No More my Winda and out it, I get a fusion spell back to my hand. I get a trap back to my hand. Then I activate Shaddoll Fusion, summon another one. So this deck is also very annoying. So when it was in its prime, basically, when it was meta, it was to the point where people were complaining that it needs to get addressed on a ban list. It went from this deck needs to be banned or Winda needs to be addressed to Winda ain't good enough. Says who? Really, how I feel, like I said, it's just going second. And when it comes out to going second against multiple negation boards, what the heck? Who doesn't have a hard time? This deck ain't no exception. Arclight, alright, attack over it. You know what I'm saying? So, again, don't give up on Shaddolls, you guys. I haven't given up on this deck personally, and I'd rather adapt than conform, like I said. But anybody watching this probably is still holding on to the dream of playing Shaddolls. And if, ooh, what is that little fly thing? And if anybody's wondering how Shaddolls, how to adapt with Shaddolls and how Shaddolls can beat this format, beat this meta, watch some of my profiles on my channel. Watch the one I just put on my channel. Try out some of the Topologics. They can really help you going first. Sometimes it might be better than the Appaloosa. They're a little bit easier to summon too. You know, try some different cards. Try changing your main deck. Try going second Shaddolls with Kaijus. Heck, it works. Kaiju Shaddolls. Dark Rule and No More. Kaiju Slumber. Break the board. Activate. You know, like just do what you need to do. Adapt. Change your deck list. If you want to keep this deck and keep playing it, you might have to change. I'd rather change cards in my main deck before I change decks. That's just me. I'm going to say a quick prayer and I'm going to end this video. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, Jesus. Thy kingdom come, and thy will be done on earth just as it is in heaven. Please give us this day our daily bread, Lord, and please forgive us of our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, Father, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the glory, and the power forever. In the mighty name of Jesus, I pray. Thank you, Father. Amen. And one last thing. This is one of the decks, and it's very few that gets hand looped and it benefits. So you play against Mermails. I just want to point that out. I should have led that in this video. Eldritch, yeah, they can get hand looped and they might survive because they might have some of their spells and traps in hand. But this deck, you have dolls and their spells and traps in your hand. You might just end up plussing. They might just discard that Windy and get you a turn 1 setup with your beast. They might just discard that dragon and end up disrupting their own combo. They might just discard that aerial from your hand and make you banish their graveyard. So keep that in mind too. This deck can get hand looped by Mermails and potentially still even play. I'm just saying, yo, like, if you open the trap and you have Windy in your hand and you discard Windy in the trap, you summon out Ariel. You use the trap to flip the Ariel on their turn to summon the banished Windy. You got 2 dolls on field before you even get started. This deck can get hand looped and still play. There's benefits this deck has that other decks just don't have. Alright? Peace out, you guys.